The stories you're about to hear are all true. They may sound like bullcrap, but it's real. And it really happened. Welcome to my wild ass life. So, I spent close to 6 years living in Costa Rica. And I learned pretty quickly that, as I had said in the machete video, the cops are for sale. Or in the mid to late 2000s, I should say. I haven't been there for going on 15 years now, but back then the cops were for sale. So I'm going to give two examples today. First one, I had only been in Costa Rica, 2 weeks at this point. And I'd already been told by several people I had met and made friends with, hey, listen, man, always keep 10,000 colognes in your pocket, which is 10, 20 bucks. As I said, the exchange rate back then was about 500 colognes to $1. So the place I was staying when I first got there is a place called Nathan's Hostel. And just a little small place, half a block from the beach, a little cement block building, cool little vibe. And this Australian couple was staying there. So one night it was late, probably 1 o'clock in the morning, party's still going through town, all the bars are still open and everything, and we're standing on the sidewalk, and the guy decides, hey, everybody stop, I'm gonna roll a joint real quick. So we're standing there, and he's over off on the side, and he's trying to roll a joint, and the girl's kind of looking around, and I'm looking there, and by the time 2 police walk up with kind of a smirk on their face, just looking and shaking their head. And at this time, I didn't speak Spanish, other than what I had forgotten from 1 year of high school Spanish, what I'd picked up working with Mexicans on job sites through the years, just, basic. Donde es el baño? Yo necesito un cerveza type stuff, So these 2 cops, they're younger guys. They walk up, and immediately one of them pushes past me and grabs this Australian guy and pins him up against the wall. The other one grabs his bag of weed. Now, it was a pretty good sized bag. Grabs his bag of weed. They start carrying on in Spanish, this, that, and the other. So I kind of remained calm. The Australians were freaking out. They were like, oh my God, we're about to go to prison in a third world country. So I kept my head about myself, and the most reasonable sounding cop that I could tell, I asked him, do you speak English? No. Anyone speak English? So he gets on his little radio. 1 minute. So this older gentleman walks up, about 50 years old or so, police officer, and he had stripes and everything. I assume he was a sergeant or whatever. He walks up and he takes the bag of weed away from the other cop, and he's standing there, and he said, "Who had this?" I said, "Uh-huh." He speaks English. And the Australian guy was just like frozen. He goes, "Did you have this? This isn't legal. I don't care what your hippie friends told you. This isn't legal in this country." So they're freaking out even harder at this point. So I just asked the guy, I said, could I speak with you for just a second? He looks at me, and what? I just kind of motion to the side and take a couple of steps away, and he walks over with me. I was like, listen, sir. They mean no disrespect. They're just tourists passing through the area. As am I. I'm just we're just travelers coming through. I'm former military. So his eyes kind of perked up a little bit. And U.S. Army? Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm a combat engineer in the Army. Oh, combat? Well, yeah, as a combat engineer, it's my MOS. Yes, sir. Are you responsible for these two? As he's saying this, I reached into my pocket, pulled out 3 Rojos, 5,000 clones. They were red. Everyone called them Rojos. Pulled out 3 Rojos. As I'm talking to him, I made a show of taking each one, folding in half individually. I said, "Sir, if I need to take responsibility for my friends here, I'll be glad to do that. I'll make sure that they get back to the hotel where they need to be." Like I said, it's late. They're intoxicated. He's like, "Well, it's not legal. But if you're going to do it, we prefer you do it in your home. You do it inside your gate. You don't do it out on the street." Yes, sir, I completely understand. And I do apologize. And I'll make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. So I just reach over and hand with these 3 bills, and look at him. Didn't say another word. So he reaches over, he takes them, sticks them in his pocket, holds up the weed, opens the bag. It's cajeta, which is like low grade, just dirt weed, I guess you would call it, swag. It's cajeta? Yes, I believe so, sir. Smells really good for cajeta. He rolls the bag back up, hands it to me. Okay, you go home. I don't want to see any of them out tonight, or you. No problem, sir. You have a great night. I tell the Australians, come on, we got to get the hell out of here now. As we're walking back towards the hotel, the guy goes, "Wait a minute. Did you just buy my bag of weed back from the cops?" I held it up and looked at it. I said, "You mean my bag I just bought from the cops?" What? What? I laughed, handed it back to him, and I told him then, I was like, if you're going to fuck up in this country, make sure you've got cash to cover it. And that was it. I basically bought these tourists bag of weed back from the cops gave them a little money to put in their pockets to go have a beer, and that was that. So that stuck with me. That stuck with me. The way I found that out on the very second day in Costa Rica. I had met this guy when I got to the very first hotel in San Jose. I was eating. Guy heard my accent, walks over, "Hey, you from the South?" "Yeah, man, you are too. Where the hell are you from?" "Hey, I'm Texas." Come down, and we back and forth, made friends, got to talking. He said, "Where are you going to?" And I told him. He said, "Man, I got to go right through Jaco on my way home. I'll take you. That way you ain't got to worry with no buses and none of that shit. You know, I got room in my car. You go with me." So, okay. So as we're going down towards Jaco, he looks up and we're prevalence of marijuana in Costa Rica. We're riding down the road. He's rolled one up, driving with his knee, fires it up, passing it back and forth. Everything's all fine and good. All of a sudden, he looks up. There's blue lights in the mirror window behind us. I look around. Holy shit, it's the fucking cops. What do I need to do? And I get ready to throw the joint out the window. He said, "Give me that." He took it, pulled over. Before the cop had even got stopped, pulled in behind us. He had jumped out of this little, we were in like a geo tracker or something. He had jumped out with the joint hanging out of his mouth. Walked back, walked straight to the cop's window, handed him money, never said a word to him, got back in the car and drove off. And of course, me, what the hell? Cops are for sale here, my friend. If you're going to do something to get yourself in trouble, have enough money to cover it. That was the lesson I learned right then about Costa Rica. It worked on that night in Jaco. Flash forward a few years, I'm on the opposite coast, the very boom, down close to Panama in Puerto Viejo. My buddy Donovan and I are running a tour business. We take people on snorkeling tours, treks through the jungle, bird watching, bike tours, all this. You know, we were charging $65 an hour to take European tourists through the jungle and swimming in the ocean. Well, we had a tour booked with some Germans that day. That snorkeling story, I'll tell that on a different one. But afterwards, two of the German girls that were in the group saw us at a bar, came over, talked to us. We were having a good time, having some drinks. Sitting at the bar at a nightclub, dancing, carrying on, everything, partying. Donovan is sitting at the bar, rolling a joint. I'm talking to these girls, kind of with my back towards where the ocean is, and one of the girls goes, "Oh no, it's the police." I was like, "Huh?" Turn around and look. And it was this guy. He was somebody's special little boy that wound up getting a job in the police because I don't think he could have done much of else. By far not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Had kind of a little slack jaw grin on his face every time you see him, and you could tell his elevator didn't go all the way to the top. So I told the girls, I said, "Hold on. Just relax. What did we tell you when you guys booked a tour with us? We got you." So I turned around, looked at the cop. By then, my Spanish was fluent. So I told the cop, I said, hey, come here for a second. So he walks over. I said, listen, no disrespect to you at all, but you're scaring our friends. We're just having a good time. They're kind of freaked out about you being here. I know you don't care. But for me, if I buy you a beer, will you go stand at the other side of the bar? I said, okay. So the bartender was, we're at the bar. I motioned the bartender over. Hey, get my friend a Pilsen. The bartender just laughed, cracks one open, hands it to me. I handed it to the cop. I said, I appreciate you helping us, and enjoy your night. Handed him the beer. He grinned, took a big sip of it, in uniform, mind you, took a big sip of it, and started walking his way around to the other side of the bar. To say that my buddy Donovan and I were superstars in that moment in time would be an understatement. They could not believe you just gave the police a beer, bought the police a beer to go away and leave us alone and let us roll and smoke a joint. Yeah, pretty much. That's the way things work here. Now, that worked for most minor infractions. You do something bad, you're not going to pull $10 out your pocket and get out of it. You fuck up for real, you fuck up for real. But it just goes to show you, third world is not America. Everything's for sale.